Right, I'm now attempting to change the middle ring on the crankset here, and basically what I've done is I've already undone the Allen key set here, and I'll explain how that works. You've basically got two lots of Allen keys. You've got the big one that fits on the outside, and then you've got another one that's in the inside, so you've got two nuts, if you know what I mean. I don't know, I'll get them out so I can show you. Okay, that's the outer one, which comes off, and you've got one on the inside. That's the extractor. So if you can imagine, when that's screwed in and it's on the axle, that's fully in, and that one's fully in, like that. You put the Allen key through that outside one into the middle one and unscrew it, and that forces the pedal off the axle itself. So it's got its own built-in extractor. Okay, I'll explain that one more time. That one there will undo that nut there, but you don't want to take it off. You want to leave that one inside, done up, and that Allen key goes through it into the inside one. Now as you undo that, it comes against that plug there and forces the arm off, so it's its own extractor. I'm now going to take the just undo the derailleur and pop it off so I can pull the whole set out. I've got the derailleur out of the way, took the wire off, just brought it up a little bit so it's clear, and that just pulls out like that. There you go. It's very simple, and that means I can now work on cleaning it up and putting it in the new ring on. So anyway, put that there. I'll let you have a good look at that. That's where the bearings are, inside there. That's the other side. See, it's a hollow tube basically. Okay, so now we change that ring. The next thing to do is take the 4 nuts holding that small ring in. That's the 4 screws out of that one. And that one comes off with that one. I'm going to give that a clean before I put it back on again, which leaves the centre one. So you've got, again, 4 to take off of there to release that one. As you take these 4 nuts off, you'll find there's an inner and an outer. The shorter one goes on the inside, and you've got a deeper one that goes on the outside. All right. So that's the one I want to change. So we put that one over there, and now we give it a good clean. With deep joy, I've just discovered that I have got a replacement ring for this one, which is the right size, which is a 42 tooth. And sorry, a 39 tooth. I'm getting confused now myself. That's a 39 I've just taken off, and that's a 39 going back on again. So we are putting the new one back on, putting it in its place, ready for the nuts to go back in. Remember, the larger of the screws holding these together goes in from the front. So that's the 4 retaining nuts, 8 nuts, well 8 sections altogether that holds that on, and you'll need 2 of the same size Allen keys to do them up. I am going to put a little bit of Loctite, well I have already put a little bit of Loctite juice on each one of them, just to make sure they stay nice and tight. So that's the centre ring, nice and tight, again with a little bit of Loctite on it to keep the nuts secure. And then we put the small ring back in its place with the 4 nuts there. Again, put some Loctite on those as well, just to keep them snug in the hole. Okay, when you've put these 4 nuts back in again, finger tight. Well, finger tight. Just, I couldn't do it up with my finger. Now just do it so they're just gentle, just biting. And then again, I think I've mentioned this before, when you get a configuration of 4 nuts like this, don't do them up in rotation, always do them up across. So that one, that one, that one, that one, always do them that way around, and then once you tighten them up and then go around it again in that configuration to make sure they're really nice and tight. So again, don't go round them, always go from one side to the other, to that side to that side, to make sure they're even, basically, because if you start doing them up round like that, it sort of bows round, if you know what I mean. So you know it's nice and snug if you do it that way. Again, put some Loctite on these nuts to make sure they'll stay there. Once you've got that all nice and tight and nice and clean, it's nice to be able to clean it all out in between. Basically it just slides back in. Oh yeah, want to put a little bit of light grease, the lightest grease you can get your hands on, just on that internal bit there, just to keep it snug and keep the moisture out or whatever. If it does get in there, it's lubricated, because they're chromatic bearings in there, so they're sealed bearings. So basically it just slides back in again. Oh, we've got to make sure that seal goes back in again, otherwise that'll be a problem. So I've got to put the seal back in. Right, slotted it back in, and put the pedal on the other side, making sure it's correct. And actually that washer was pretty straightforward on the background that came out there. It was quite evident which way it came out. And I've just reversing the process really of putting that back on, and you might be able to see this nut arrangement better. That's the one that goes on the inside, and that screws in there like that. And then once you've got that screwed in, you screw the other one. Again, I've just tightened that internal one up, and now we put that one that covers it. And it's that one there that pushes up against that when you take it off. It's like its own extractor. Put that one back again. The recess goes on the inside and the flat surface on the outside. And then it was quite hard to do it at one end. Basically you screw that one back in. That's the larger of the Allen keys. Bring it somewhat out, otherwise it gets there. It needs to go by hand a little bit more. And basically that's it, just do that one up, and that's the crank tightened. Just replace the chain, and now I'm going to reset the derailleur in its proper place. Just done the derailleur up, but I'm going to put a new cable in as well. It's a good chance, you might as well just put a new cable in and done with it. So all you need to do is push that back, that's there, and you just basically thread it back the way it comes out. But when you pull it out, be careful, because you've got this configuration here you have to hold in its place, otherwise it will just fall out. And sometimes there's a little noodle in here which holds it against the frame there. So it's pretty straightforward really to replace the cable. I was quite surprised how wet that old cable was when it came out, but it's not rusty, so really it just goes to prove that you should buy a good quality cable. These are stainless steel as well, so they shouldn't go rusty as much as the cheap ones should. But that's the new cabling. The butt goes in the end there, look, it just sits in there, so that's fully forward, so that's fully down. So that's ready to go, that's ready to be put into the derailleur and set that up. So there's a shot of the cable in place. Try and keep it to the side where it's straightest, and then you'll find that'll wear better. Seeing you've actually changed the position of the derailleur itself when you've done it up, you might need to adjust the stops on there, but they're pretty straightforward. This one here does the top ring, this one here does the small one. It's just a matter of letting it off or tightening it up, because you've got the adjuster on here anyway, so make sure that's in the centre so you've got plenty of adjustment, and then just make sure it's going properly up and down where it should be and it's not touching. It's very simple, that. And of course cut the wire and put a tip on it so it doesn't stick into your leg or anything or your hand. Always best to put a little noodle on the end of here, otherwise it could stick into your finger or your leg at a later date. Not very good. You can always bend it over like that. Okay, that sums it up then. That's all done. So that's all I've got to do on this bike. Is set the derailleur up, and I'm going to do that tomorrow.